Hello, everyone.
Losing you.
How you doing?
Hello. I think you should be able to hear me there. Looking like it's working. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Yeah, the headphones were taking a little bit to connect. So, I hope everyone is well. I like to focus this AMA on talking about MTC, uh, everything that we're doing on the blockchain specifically. I know that the community has several questions in regards to the snapshot and how we're going to be moving forwards with the exchanges and everything related to MTC. So I'll also be taking suggestions from the community on talking about the paths that we had already planned out in regards to MTC and what I'll be explaining the plan and hearing the community's opinions on it. So we're going to be using, as I had mentioned before, MTC for the hashing. That's the base utility feature of it. That means the consultations and the products that we're selling, all of those will be hashed, and that's being done by sending essentially one coin from one wallet to another every time there's something that happens, which is a product sale or a consultation. We used to do this already in the past, but we also had a reverse component that would send MTC to the individual wallets of each user. And through that method, we increased the amount of wallets by the thousands. And it was just a way of distributing more coins. But I think many of those wallets, many of the users either no longer have access to them or they don't, they never actually withdrew them. So in essence, I think what the effect of that had was it reduced the total circulating supply by a certain amount. Either way, the plan is to use MTC for the hashing of the services, and that's on a regular basis. That'll be happening in real time. People will be able to view those metrics. We know that Kucoin, I found out more recently that one of the main reasons for delisting on Kucoin was the fact that the hack that happened to Kucoin, that the hackers took a huge amount of coins from many different projects, one of which was MTC. They took, I think, 2% of the total supply. So any coins that were affiliated with the hack on Kucoin were delisted eventually. And that was one of the main reasons. So talking it over with Daniel and strategizing over the next steps, the plan is to do the snapshot and just allow those who have coins locked into Kucoin to claim their coins by providing some sort of proof that their coins are locked in Kucoin. And also, I will be tweeting later today directly to Kucoin to request either the release of the tokens from the users or some sort of solution to see what they have to say in regards to sending users tokens. Otherwise, we'll have to take a secondary step to provide, to view people's proof that they have tokens locked up in Kucoin that they haven't been able to withdraw. So I'd like to request on that front the community support after my tweet, just to say, hey, my tokens are locked up in Kucoin. We all want to get them out. Give us a solution rather than just say, hey, we're keeping everything. So that's step one. Step two would be to create the snapshot and just issue a new token on Avalanche. I've seen questions on why Avalanche, and it's something that I've mentioned in the past. Avalanche, there are differing opinions on the blockchain that we want to use, but there's two primary reasons why we chose Avalanche. The first is that they're one of the most decentralized blockchains. That's a very attractive component. There's no one small group of people that can just turn it off and controls the blockchain. That's very important for us. So that's the reason number one why we like it. And reason number two is we have access to their C-level team, to the people that lead Avalanche. We've had meetings with them in the past, and that's also important for us, so we have the right amount of support. And then you also have to consider it's a U.S.-based project, so Avalanche have a lot of good projects from the U.S. And so as we move forwards, we're doing everything in the U.S. It's just better for us to work with projects that are based in the U.S. We've had talks about Binance, but Binance essentially controls all their nodes. So even though they claim to be decentralized, they essentially own all the nodes, and that's not really good for the long term. So that's a comparison to why Avalanche. So that's what we plan on doing. The snapshot will take place next week. We'll give people a week's time to well, first we'll see what Kucoin says, but the snapshot is planned to be done on Friday of next week, so we have enough time. If the community suggests a different time frame, please go ahead and do so. But that's how we were planning on doing it. It's a pretty simple thing. We've done this in the past with airdrops. We just take the snapshot at a certain time, and we would do the monthly airdrops back in 2018. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be taking a snapshot of all the wallets and how many tokens are in there, and removing the ones that Kucoin has. So Kucoin has a significant amount of MTC. Our plan is to can everyone hear me well? I just got an error message from Telegram saying that. So that's the reasoning behind why we use AVAX. The snapshot will be happening Friday of next week, and after that we'll issue a new token on AVAX and change the token that's being traded currently on BitTrue to the new token address. So I'll go ahead and I'll read questions from the community. I think Sam posted a few here. Let's see. So Sam asked question number 1: AVAX subnet used? If not, why? Well, we do plan. We talked about having a subnet on AVAX. That is something that we can do. It's not totally necessary at this stage to have a full subnet for us. Reason being, we're only going to be doing hashing in the first stage, and the other features, all the staking features and things like that we want to add on down the road, those are things that would be better to run on a subnet, our own subnet. It's something that we had already talked about with the AVAX team, and it's definitely a possibility. But the objective right now is just to do the snapshot, create the new coin, and put that into change the token on the exchange. So we're just essentially just resolving the issue with the Kucoin hack. Second question here, Sam asks, what if community helps with nodes? That's definitely something that we always wanted. People from the community to help with nodes. So that's still in the plans. Number 3, token buyback strategy. The plan is to be using the token for hashing. So determining the amount is it's not something that I can tell you right now. This is the exact amount that's going to be bought off the exchanges to do the hashing, but it will be on a regular basis and viewable for everyone to see, and it'll be dependent on the amount of services that we give after launch. But we do have to have a treasury that's publicly viewable so people know that that's where it's going to. Let's see. Discount in service if paid by DOC token. Yes, we do plan on having multiple discounts, and that can be used to pay for medications, and that varies by product. So there's some products where the margins are larger. There's some where we can give a higher discount rate. The calculation of that is done depending on the product. So it'll vary, but it can range from 1% to 15%. So we want to incentivize essentially using NTC as or the DOC token as our point system within the platform. Ticker change to DOC. Yes, that's also planned. So there's already coins named DOC, as you all know, but the ticker makes sense to change it to DOC. So that's also a change that we'd be doing with the changing of the token. So look, what we have to do is just stay in line with the rules and do things correctly. So after the snapshot happens, we'll take the steps to do this completely fine and follow the suggestions from the community. But the idea is to have everyone satisfied with the swap, or not the swap, the actual change of the token. The supplies, everything stays the same. we're just resolving really the Kucoin issue, which was a big issue that they caused us for locking up all the tokens and the hack that they suffered. Let's see. So more questions here. Will Doc.com Inc. stock be available on Robinhood, and when will the token be available on mainstream exchanges? The stock will be available on Robinhood once it's listed. Robinhood doesn't list any non-Nasdaq or New York Stock Exchange companies. So since we plan on listing on the Nasdaq, the stock would be available on Robinhood ads and any other platform, any stock trading platform, just like any other Nasdaq stock. So that the response to that is yes. And in regards to the token, you know, you're mentioning Coinbase and will it be listed there? Honestly, right now we can't say that it would be. There's some regulatory requirements that have to be met. I think right now we're going to stick with BitTrue. It's a good exchange, and people can go there and do what we have been doing for years now. And as long as we comply with all the regulatory requirements, we would definitely try to list it on more large exchanges or more known exchanges. So there's a lack of access putting it on BitTrue. There are other options. Obviously, we'd like to show results and showcase everything as it should be working, and use that as a basis to justify a listing on a bigger exchange. But with all the regulatory uncertainty that's happening right now, you know, we have to make sure that we proceed the right way, and that just is ensuring that we deliver on what we're doing and showcase a good use case for blockchain and healthcare. And you know, that'll be after we show results from our launch and we show, you know, how people are getting helped and how the actual token economy works. But we already know that there's many things that are beneficial and very innovative with the use of hashing and decentralized options, I would say, with staking and things like that for the token. So that's definitely what we plan on doing. But at least we'll be doing the hashing and from the get-go, and that'll provide utility that can be viewable and transparent for everyone. Let's see. How many hours, days will you take for distribution of a new token after snapshot? Well, the actual distribution of it doesn't really take much longer. Once a snapshot is done, it's airdropped to people's accounts, and we have a tech development that was created in the past to do that actual process. So it runs very relatively quickly. It doesn't really take more than a day. There are some other options that we have thought on how the actual airdrop would happen to those accounts or to those wallets. Sorry, and but we're probably just going to do what we did before. I mean, that's what the plan is right now, to just take the snapshot, ensure that everyone is already in check with the next step, which would be the airdrop, and having everyone coordinate to have everything ready to receive that airdrop, and then just airdrop it soon after. You like my halo? Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. A question here in reference to the white paper. So the original white paper stated lots of the functions that MTC would have from a crypto economy perspective, and those are still relevant today. I think the method of going about doing them is very different, because originally we were planning on building our own blockchain, and now there's options that we can use from established companies like Avalanche that we can use to speed up the process and build additional decentralized features. So there are changes for the white paper, but those changes are primarily there's so many ways that we can take a crypto economy and the blockchain component. There's so many ways that we can develop that moving forwards. And the situation is quite different today, just because of the regulatory changes and all the new things that can be done with decentralized applications. So that's part of the reason why it's so important that we do this very publicly and do this the right way, because of there's still a lot of education that needs to be done for most of the population on what this actually means. You know, our main point is transparency, for people to understand that when you have a consultation, there's data taken in. It's all under regulatory compliance, and when a product is sold, you can track it with blockchain tracing. Those are the main things why we want to showcase this. And then when you go into the actual regulatory aspects of giving a token to users, there's things that haven't really been defined yet by the regulators in regards to how that can go. So I think we have a really positive use case, and it's not something that really should have any conflict with our own services or the purpose of why we want to do this. We've always thought that giving this option to users would increase value for the value of the product or the services themselves, and also provide that transparent cycle or revenue stream that could aid in providing more free calls for patients. And that's also something that, you know, it's one of the pillars of what we've done and how we originally built things. That's still all doable, I would say. We would just have to be very diligent with how we go about doing it to ensure that everything is done the right way. So that's so there are changes to the white paper there's changes today to what was originally put into the white paper, and that's just the nature of you know, how the market and how the whole blockchain space has changed. Okay. When will the stock be listed? Well, we have Jacob is asking that question. I can't give an exact date because that's dependent on several factors, but we really plan on doing it this year. And the process is we're going to be launching soon. We have to show at least 3 months of results, and then after that, we would do a direct listing. That's the plan right now. There are some other options that we've been looking at, SPAC options. There's doing an S1. You know, there's different paths to do it, but we have a plan already set in place, and so we have to first show results. But in the grand scheme of things, it's relatively quickly. So you know, the idea is that we get to it as soon as possible, and we show at least a few months of results, and we can keep on showing more progress. And this is not only results as far as the actual services themselves. We also have contracts that we have, particularly for organizations and resellers and clinics and things like that that are in the works right now. And once you know that increases our user base, and that also brings in revenue. So it's building those and adding as many additional contracts or things that increase our value and our user base. And so that's by the point by the time we have at least 3 months of operations, we should have some more contracts already closed by then, so we can add that and project out larger growth. So that's the plan moving forwards. But the listing will coincide with showing results and so we come out strong. I mean, that's really the idea, that we can come out very, very strong as a stock, as a public company. Let's see, Mal, regulatory uncertainty. What do you mean by that? What I mean by that is there's no clear laws in place currently for a lot of the decentralized crypto things. I mean, in essence, the best way to go about it is do a filing, as we have done, explain everything in detail of what we're actually doing, and just try to do the best possible moving forwards. But there's still no precise laws. There's been things presented in the U.S. And we know we're waiting to see what happens with these cases and stuff. But there's still a lot of things that haven't been defined yet by the regulators in the U.S. and in many countries in regards to anything blockchain related. Still, there's still a lot of things moving forward. So that's what I mean by that. And I know there's a lot of positive progress and there's a lot of support. So I think it's taking a good path moving forwards. And we want to be one of those projects that is used as a positive example. So I think that's the path we're on. Our use case is very noble, and I think we're going to have great success with that. And they can use us as an example of something that's positive that came out of the space. And that's what we plan on doing moving forward. So that's, right now there's still things to be determined by the regulators in many countries, but it's moving forwards well. People know that it's here to stay, and there's definitely a lot of benefits with the reach of the technology, of blockchain technology. Let's see. Does the snapshot account for MTC, BTC, MTC, USDC? The snapshot, what it does is it takes in all the accounts that have MTC in them, all the wallets. I'm sorry, keep on saying accounts. It's all the wallets that have MTC in them. So that's where we look. We're taking the snapshot directly from the blockchain. So any wallet that has MTC in it, that's where it happens. So why not launch subnet from the start? The subnet, it's just really it's all about timing and development time. It is planned for the subnet. From a development perspective, you have to have certain things done, and also you have to have enough, to actually run a subnet on Avalanche. You have to have enough AVAX. You have to have enough nodes. Things, part of the things that need to be done. There we go. I put Andy on mute. Someone had there. Let's see. Another question. Ellie. Will there be an option to buy the token directly with credit card in the app? So, yes, at some point. But we also have to do this the right way and ensure that we comply with all the requirements, all the legal and regulatory requirements to be able to do that. But yes, the idea is to give access to most people, because that you could potentially accumulate tokens and use that to pay for certain medications or healthcare services. So the more access that there is for that, then yes, especially in other countries. countries like any of the countries in Latin America. So that's a question that Ellie asked. Number 2, how much do you expect to raise? Well, at this point right now, we know how much we need for the runway to. We have projected numbers based on statistics and our customer acquisition cost given to us by the ad agency. We know how much we should invest on the high end. So, in an ideal scenario, we would expect to raise 25 million from an IPO or a listing, but that could change as well. So it depends on several factors, but that will be the target for us to raise. It may be that we don't need to raise that large of an amount. So that depends also on how fast we grow after launch with our new services, because there are 2 very important components of how we're executing this next launch, and those 2 components are having a marketplace and medical billing, those traditional revenue streams. Our actual ad server is the smallest of the 3 revenue streams, but it still is it's significant because it goes directly to the bottom line. And if we have a very successful launch with strong growth, then it would change the amount of capital we would be raising. But I would say as a minimum, that's what we expect to raise. And we have to put in the work right now and show great results for that to happen. So that's what the plan is. Let's see, another question. Jacob, if a doctor needs vitals or testing them, what ways have been explored on getting physical access to patients? Maybe a contract with CVS or Walgreens? Well, our service is designed to be a primary care telemedicine service that covers basic needs, because we know that what the population's most need is basic forms of healthcare. So that's our focus moving forwards. There are things that we've explored in the past to specialize in case a patient needs further assistance. But usually what we do in that case is if a person needs a physical exploration by a doctor or a healthcare professional, then we would refer that patient to that healthcare professional. And we would stick to our core services, which are free basic healthcare. So it's a more non-specialized service in that case. So if a person needs extra attention, then we refer them to the right path. Let's see from Andy Black. I'm reading here questions. Okay, so there's a question here regarding, referencing the token and how much attention will be put on it. As I've mentioned in the past, there's I would say our token particularly it's what's very important is that we show the actual utility functional and working. So that's step one. That's what we have to showcase. That's what we have to ensure happens. That the actual hashing is taking place that is publicly verifiable and transparent. So that's step one. Blockchain, and I always speak about it in all my talks, has always been a key component of how we do things. So it's definitely something important. How we educate the public about it. That's where it changes, and I think for those who have a deeper understanding of blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and stuff like that, they get it faster. But for new people coming into the space and understanding what blockchain is in general, or what cryptocurrencies do and how they work, it's a complete new thing. But we have to show them that the reason that we're using it is for transparency, and this is how it works. And look, there's a hash every time someone has a consultation, and we take in data. This is a representative metric of a user who's receiving a treatment, and then here's a product hash. So those are key things we have to show first, and with those things, it gives us that strong basis for the token's utility. So those are the steps we have to take to ensure that we can talk about it well and educate people. So that's what I'm currently doing when I talk about it. I say, well, there's a blockchain hash and it's being done this way. So in part of the PR marketing, there's a lot of influencers from the blockchain space that are participating. And usually it's better to start with more mainstream individuals and use a mix of people and marketing strategies to cover all aspects of what we do. And that's what we're doing. We're starting with in the end, what we have to do is show that we're a strong company with innovative technologies. That's what we're doing. That's what we have to show, and then talk about all the components. So it's a process that takes time, and it also goes in phases. Right now, we're at the initial phase talking about it, but the idea of free basic healthcare and the transparency offered through the actual hashing of the services and the products, and also the crypto economy component and how that can be something that's valuable. It can increase the amount of free calls. Those are very important things, and that's why we signed on to do a 12-part series. It was originally going to be 6 parts, but this has a lot more things that we can do down the road. So it's that's what we signed on for to really document everything: the actual launch, capital raise, the IPO. We want to document the whole process. So we're used as a good example, and people can see the benefits of it, and they understand the virtues of blockchain and the benefits of cryptocurrencies, but under a method or under a use case that's solid and compliant and attractive to regulators, things like that. So, those are the steps that we're taking, and we have to do this the right way, and communicating it is also part of the challenge, I would say, because a lot of people still don't understand what blockchain does or how it works. So, it's taking those steps to do it in stages, and that's what we're doing. So there's definitely going to be more attention brought to MTC and stuff, but it won't be, I'm handling the media strategy with the team to talk about doc.com as a whole, and not particularly focus on one particular component. But it's a necessary thing to have the best end result. Either way, our media partners and influencers and stuff will do a good job of talking about individual aspects of the company and what we do, and obviously that's where more PR content will come out in regards to the token. See, was a PR process for the token. Okay. Okay, so will there be PR happening? Essentially, the question number 2 is, what's a PR process? Well, like I said, influencers, and we have to keep up the creating content and putting it out in media, educating everyone about what we do. So what's the PR process? Essentially, constant news and constant education and explaining to the world what we do. That process entails lots of people, different influencers and people that we have partnerships with, our media partners. and it's just going to be an ongoing process for the next year. We kicked it off this past month in January, and it'll be ongoing. So that's a process. Our social media presence is truly dead. Yes. So there are very strong plans for Twitter and all the social media presence, and that's just kicking off right now. So definitely that's covered. It's probably one of our strongest investments that we're making. So social media will definitely be transformed. But like I said, our main goal was right now to have the services up and running, prepare for the launch, and really start educating the public about what we do, getting in users, showcasing those results. I don't want to tell, essentially what we're doing is doing it in phases, talking about it in the media, talking about it with different partners, people that are coming into influencers. And these strategies, they take time, but there's a constant effort, and part of it is doing more AMAs, listening to the community to see what suggestions they have, and that's why I'm doing this AMA now. We'll be doing more on a regular basis, and you'll see more content coming out. I'm filming again this coming week. I'm filming again. There's more shows that are coming out. There's just a lot of PR that's really being done right now. And this is really in anticipation of our launch. So it's important that we do that. There's no mention of on New to the Street that you can invest in the DOC token. Well, the reason it's not mentioned is because we can't mention that particularly that way as of yet. There are ways of doing that, but like I said, we have a well thought out plan moving forwards, and it's just the way we have to do it because the space has changed a lot, and we have to go about this with caution and do this the right way. So the mentions that are done have to be done correctly, and right now we have to show the first stage of results and move forwards after that and talk about how that works. But it's important that we follow the laws and we follow everything in the right sequence. So there will be mentions, and that will be happening, and there will be more PR efforts related directly to any aspects of that can be interesting for investors. We are doing a capital raise, so all these things are very important to talk about. Let's see. Have we spoken to the investment banks about the token? What are their opinions? Generally, the token is a very cool thing for everyone to understand how it works. So general consensus is it's a very cool thing. It's a great innovation, especially how we use it. Then again, like I mentioned before, there's still a lot of lack of knowledge. So people still don't understand how the actual hashing takes place. Some people, I have to explain to them from zero. Yeah, they may be investment bankers, for example, that I've talked to from the top investment banks, but some of them don't really understand how a hash takes place even, or the concept of decentralization. They get more caught up on, the ups and downs of the market without really understanding the underlying technology. And so their opinions in general are great, but one of the things that happened at least last year was all these scandals that came out with FTX and everything related to Celsius and all these things. So people are really some of them are still thinking about that to this day, and so I always talk about the virtues of blockchain and the virtues of crypto economy and what we've been doing, and I have to explain it to them, but generally it's a very positive use case. So the objective was always to provide free basic healthcare, and that's where joining it with a crypto economy and blockchain and creating all these features becomes very interesting, because the end goal is a goal that serves humanity and serves people. And it's also one of the reasons we were able to give so many thousands of consultations to so many people. I mean, that it's always been, and that's why we have people that still are supportive to this day. So they see it as a very positive use case, but I think in many ways we're still in an early stage for blockchain in general. There's because of just how people don't have that much of an understanding of blockchain in general. So, but with us, it's been very positive, and it's also why speaking for the people directly at Nasdaq, and they see this as the future, and that's a very positive sign for us moving forward. Everyone's very excited about what we're doing. Let's see. Assumed AVAX does the hashing. What does it cost? Well, the cost on doing a hash on one of the AVAX chains is very low in comparison to what we used to pay on Ethereum. I know Ethereum that they're now changed their whole model into proof of stake, but and that reduced costs. But we chose Avalanche for the reasons I mentioned before, and the cost is just, I think it's less than 1% of what we used to pay. We can do over 7,000 transactions for around $50, I think, the equivalent, as far as monetary cost to do the hashing. So it's very low, the actual hashing. And that's a huge benefit for us. I mean, it's low energy consumption, and it's something that's positive. Now, what is the actual cost of everything else? Well, that depends. If we use a token for rewards, if we use it to hash individual data points, that increases the costs, and that actually is modeled out in a financial model to ensure that it's not really detrimental to providing our services. So the great thing is the cost is generally reduced dramatically. We can do thousands of transactions where previously, we couldn't. The cost was enormous. Sometimes the hashing itself on Ethereum, when we used to do it before, when we used to send users tokens, the hashing alone was more expensive than the transaction cost was more expensive than the actual tokens being sent. So, let's see. Is a fixed variable percentage still planned to be converted to tokens? Will this be hashed on the blockchain? And the answer to that is yes. There's the hashing always takes place no matter what. So there's a fixed variable that goes to that. And yes, that's transparent as part of the transparency that we can be on the blockchain. Will it be transparent how much MTC the community swapped? Well, I think, to be honest, that's a great question. I would think that it would be something that we'd like to show. I do have to check first with the legal team to see if that's fine to do it. I would say we would always want to show more transparency on any level. And what does Doc have use of the swap tokens? When does Doc have use of the swap tokens? Well, that piece will definitely be shown. When does Doc actually use the tokens? Well, that's actually when the hashing takes place. So that's definitely transparent. People will be able to see that. We'll also be able to see the treasury wallet, basically, that holds all the tokens. Let's see. Question number 9 here. Trying to go fast here. Let's see. At stock listing time, will all pre-investors DOTA shares be unlocked, or is there a lockup period? There's no lock period for those that swapped. So they're essentially buying doc.com shares. There's no lockup period after listing. When do we start using the Doc crypto symbol on BitTrue, or the ticker symbol? That's when the new coin or the new token has to be when we change it to the new token. That's when it would change. So we would actually have to make the change, give them the new wallet or the new actual token address with the new ticker, and tell them, switch all the tokens for this token. So that's when it would take place. After the snapshot, after the airdrop, then soon after it would change. That's how it would happen. Having more volume, definitely. I saw that there was some trading that went on in the past days, and that really comes down to the market makers. We already have them ready to go, and we just had to resolve the snapshot issue right now before we proceeded with that. There are quite a bit of tokens that the hacker took out of the full amount. There was more, I think there was 2% of the supply, the total supply was hacked. So it's a significant amount. So that's why it was something important to fix this now with the snapshot. Can we assume that we receive a dummy-proof step-by-step instruction for MTC holders? Oh, yes, of course. I was talking about this yesterday with the team in regards to snapshots and steps, and we'll definitely be posting a content visuals for the next steps. So explaining the whole snapshot steps and where you should keep your tokens. We'll post just a one-pager for that. Can we have a Doc NFT with snapshots? That's a great question. We've had plans to do NFTs for some time now, particularly with health records. I would say that's a great suggestion, and it's something we could build into our offering in the coming weeks. But I would say let's come back on that. I'll make note to see if we create NFTs for founding members or even for patients. We'll do that, and I'll talk about it in the next AMA. It'll be something that we can strategize, and I'll talk it up with Daniel and the rest of the team as well to see those benefits. So, this is part of the feedback loop that we have always loved to have. So that's a great suggestion. I think that would be very beneficial to do something like that. Currently, there are no links to your Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook and Instagram. Well, Gene is asking this question. I want to talk about how it's all worked out in the past months, and so there's lots of changes that we have to make still, and one of them is updating our socials and doing changes to the website. Those things we will be doing them. We had to kick off with this campaign first and plan it all out. We had to model everything Wall Street level. We had to do all the financial modeling. Everything had to be data back. And that was really to give us a good basis and a good, strong infrastructure, I would call it. So, and a lot of that is because of we didn't want things to happen that happened in the past. So how we're going about it now is just a much stronger and solid path moving forwards. And I needed to kick this off officially and show people that it's serious, and investors that what we're doing now is serious with the marketplace, and really just build it out on the tech side of things and on the number side of things, so everything was well calculated. That was the initial effort, and that we had these past months to get that done first. We had to have everything well set up, basically Wall Street level standards. And the dev team right now is working on the changes needed for to actually get the services launched, and also changes to the sites with all the content. We have content that's being created that's going to be part of the content for our PR strategy and marketing strategy. All those changes are taking effect, and they will be up soon, actually, before the next episode airs, where there's going to be significant changes. So we have been working on that. There will be links to everything, social media, as well as more content being put on social media. Let's see. Next question. Personal opinions here. 2 apps separate. Doc Emotions and Doc Health. We used to have 2 apps. It was logistically, I don't think it's something that we definitely learned. It's better to have it all on just one place instead of having 2 separate apps. So we're just going to keep it with 1 app right now and focus on growing that as much as possible. How about using MTC for value transfers within the company? If you mean by that, like paying for payroll and things like that, that's also something we always offered the whole team, and many of them took advantage of that and did want to get paid in MTC. So it's always been something that anyone can have use for internally. But really right now we just have to move forward with the best path from a legal and regulatory perspective, and show the best use case. So that's step 1. If within the company there's value transfers that we can take place that are compliant with those 2 things, then we'll definitely do so and offer that to everyone inside the company. So is there a funding issue where we can't enable market makers? It's not really a funding issue per se. It's more of a legal regulatory issue. Like I've mentioned, taking this path to taking the company public has many steps to it. We don't want to make any mistakes that could hinder our listing. So doing things with the market makers or doing the snapshot, we have to resolve the whole snapshot issue first. And if not, that's what the plan that we put in place. So the market makers either way will happen immediately after that. But that's what we first had to resolve, and it's something that we should have resolved previously, I think. But a lot of people that have MTC have it locked up in Kucoin currently. I would say, there's probably people in the thousands that have it locked into Kucoin. So that's the first thing that we have to resolve, and that also would have a big impact on trading volume and things like that. So definitely the next thing to resolve. Will you put hack 21 million to company coffers for use or burn them? Well, I think that's really the best thing for that is to do it the most transparent way possible. So I think the healthiest thing would be, if they're not claimed, then burn them, and that's probably the best thing for the community, for everyone. Believe we've already worked in staking pool contracts. Yes, we actually built some staking pools. It just those plans changed due to our efforts moving forwards with the launch, and how we launch these things. First we have to be launched. We have to get services. We have to showcase that. Staking pools and things like that can come afterwards, as we build in more features that justify and showcase the utility of the token. How will they find emotions on the Play Store? There is no emotions separate app. It's just Doc app. So it's just a single app that's on the App Store and Play Store. Are you happy with the community response on the AVAX validator poll? Let me take a look at it right now. Let me take a look at this poll. Running through, okay, here we go. The community can combine resources of AVAX in a way to do each, to stake. Okay, staking pool are the direct rewards and other ways staking AVAX, whatever they are, might point these out. For an AVAX staking pool to enable a subnet, how much AVAX would you contribute? Okay, so 1 to 99 AVAX. That's great. That is a very good. I think that's the right sweet spot. Well, I mean, I think it's accessible for most people. Then again, I think if you're a validator, there are some security and concerns in regards to that. If it's just 1 to 9 AVAX, 1 to 99 AVAX, or less than 100 AVAX, it's pretty accessible to most, I would say, at that point. It's a small amount of AVAX, but I know that we want to make it worth it to be a validator, and we also want people that are responsible to be validators. So that could mean that you may have to stake more, but I think less than 100 is probably a good range, especially with the current price of AVAX, which I think has been rising. When are services starting in the U.S.? Well, they're starting before the end of March. We have a couple of contracts that we have that are enabling us to get things going. Just some things that we have to wrap up on the tech side of things for the relaunch. But yeah, everything is on track to be launched before the end of March, before the end of Q1. Let's see. I'm reading here through the questions. That's for 10 validators. As far as I understand, Gene, I'm reading your question here in regards to what's the minimum AVAX committed for validators. Yes, I think AVAX asks for 4 validators minimum. We want to have as many as possible, obviously, or at least 8 or more. So I think we could definitely reach that goal in regards to the validators in the subnet. Have any new investors approached you since your Nasdaq interview? And the answer to that is yes, actually several. So there's probably more that are going to be coming in. So this is just building up to increase the shareholder base, but there's definitely attention to what we're doing. So the answer to that is yes. I'll answer a few more questions, and then I think we can. I kind of want to talk about what I plan on doing with Twitter. So I was thinking. So this is something. Currently, we do the AMAs here on Telegram, which is a great place, but I think it also limits the amount of reach. We were having talks about doing the Twitter Spaces talks on there, same way we do these AMAs on Telegram, and just kind of bringing in more listeners from the general public. I think if everyone's comfortable with that, for the next AMA we would switch it to Twitter, and we would still obviously keep on doing communicating with the community on Telegram. So taking suggestions from the community on that in regards to that. I think Twitter is a great platform, especially with the changes that they've been making. But we definitely want to be more mainstream and bring attention to what we're doing and our mission. And I think Twitter, there's still people that I talk to and I tell them, look, go check out our Telegram channel. And Telegram is it's an amazing platform. I love it, but it's definitely not as mainstream as Twitter is. So we definitely want to increase how many people see us and know about what we're doing. So we can refer to Telegram for community and talks. It's a different format than Twitter, but I think the next AMA we'll be doing it on Twitter. I plan on tweeting more often. People can see that I've been tweeting certain things, putting up more content, and also our content is being we're building more content for social media in general. Seeing Gene's messages. Elon told me to tell you to use Twitter. Well, I think that's a no-brainer right there. So I'm going to, I have to do some other things. I have a call coming up. I prepare something, but I think doing our campaign has kicked off and it's brought a lot of attention. This is essentially a new doc.com moving forwards. I'm very excited for what's coming, and I'm very glad that the community is very supportive. In the end, we still want to achieve our mission and give as many services to as many people as possible. And bring in this blockchain component. I recently saw posts by Janice, and we're going to be using a mix of people that we had in the past and a lot of new ones to help us get the word out. So it's it's a very positive thing moving forward, and our audience is way larger now. So it's very good things coming, and there's a lot more experience on many levels. So it's a very good thing. What I want to be happening is I want everyone from the community and everyone that's new to doc.com to come and look back and say, wow, this is a great example of of a company that's mission-based, that's really helping people's lives. And that's the end message that I want to come out of all of this. It's the reason, I wake up every day and push forwards, because it's a very important thing for me. And everyone involved, everyone really sees the value in it. So we've had our amazing journey, and it's come to this, and we're still here but it's just so much stronger now. I mean, I feel so much more confident with the path that we're taking, just because there's just everything is well modeled out. We know that we can grow with these revenue streams that we're implementing now, and still maintain a high quality services. And there's also been a lot of regulation changes in the healthcare space that allow us to do this much more openly, and not have to fight through the whole education process within governments and things like that. So people are much more open to healthcare, digital healthcare, and they're much more open to blockchain now. And we're really, really pushing forwards with this. So this is my life's work, and I'm not saying it's just me as an individual, but everyone involved is very, very invested into the success and the execution of what we're doing. So I'm just happy that we're finally moving forward and getting things going this way. And it's been a lot of struggle as well. So, but you've all been here. I'm so grateful that everyone's here. We still have this large community, and people are very supportive. And I'm very appreciative for everyone's comments and feedback. And the idea is that we can be a great example for everyone, all types of communities and parts of the world, as the creation of something beautiful for the world that takes advantage of these things, that's transparent, and that we can rely on, and that helps people. So until that happens, it's either make it happen or die trying. That's how I look at it. So I appreciate everyone. I'll keep up to date with the comments of the community, and we'll see how much we can take this, how big we can take this, and how fast we can do it. So thank you very much for your time, everyone, and I look forward to doing another AMA relatively soon. We'll try the Twitter method, and we'll talk next week. I'll be updating people here on the content, the step-by-steps for the snapshot, and we'll end it there. I wish everyone an excellent weekend, and speak to everyone soon. Thank you.